Hey, how's it going? You got time for a beer? It's not New Brew Thursday. It's like Sunday. I don't get Thursday off this week, so it'll be a weird one when I do New Brew Thursday because I'm definitely doing that this week. So the beer I've got today, since I've got time for one, Hofbräu it's a Hofbräu Oktoberfest. Let's see what else. 11.2 fluid ounces. Munich specially brewed according to Germany purity law. Hofbräu Oktoberfestbier. The Oktoberfest originated in 1910 in Munich, Germany, as a wedding celebration for the Crown Prince Ludwig of Bavaria. This product was created especially for this event and is brewed usually for the Oktoberfest, now the largest beer festival in the world. Hofbräu München is one of a selected group of breweries granted the privileges supplying the Oktoberfest with their products using the highest quality ingredients. HB's Oktoberfest specialty is its own distinctive and unique taste. So it's 6.3% by volume. It's a fest beer. It's probably a lager because generally that's how those are brewed over there in Germany. I don't remember for sure. I'm sure I've heard it, read it, seen something about that someplace. But I have had this one before. I just checked it in for the Oktoberfest badge on Untapped, because this is one of those original breweries. So you can get that Oktoberfest badge with a Hofbräu. From what I understand, it doesn't matter which kind, but when I picked up a beer that said Hofbräu on it, this is the one that they had at Opperman's. Because, well, I went to Opperman's because I couldn't find a Hofbräu or any of the other original breweries in Bavaria or in Germany to grab at work, which seems weird because you'd think that that'd be something that they'd have this time of year, but no. There are lots of different Oktoberfests at work, though. Lots of them. Obviously, it's light amber in color. 6.3%. It's not super heavy, but it's not light either. You could drink a lot of these in a day and it wouldn't be that big a deal. Or maybe I could drink a lot of these in a day and it wouldn't be that big a deal. There is kind of a cracker taste to it, but not like a lot more like a Ritz cracker, but not toasted, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that does or not. That's strange. I seem to have fallen off or gotten closer or something like that. I don't know. Weird. Yeah. It is a good one. It tastes a little skunky, but usually those beers do. 1146. Just seeing if there's a born on date. It looks like there's supposed to be one, but I have no idea what that says. Yeah, probably in March. That it was when it was brewed. But that's generally how you have to do that, which is why I would guess that they call them Marzens, because there's no way that Marzen means October in German. If anything, it means March. And plus, Oktoberfest, yay! It was kind of cool out today, so I put on a flannel. It's one of my favorite flannels. It used to belong to my dad, but Dad doesn't fit into it anymore, and I still do. I remember him wearing this when I was very young. If I remember correctly, it says Montgomery Ward on it, and there hasn't been a Montgomery Ward in Michigan since the mid-90s, late 90s. So this one's at least that old, and I'm pretty sure that this one may be older than me. So this could be a 40-year-old shirt, which is kind of cool, actually. What it's supposed to be like, I've got a feeling this tastes exactly what it's supposed to taste like. Before, when I had it, I noticed a slight grape flavor at the end, like a little bit more tannin, which I thought was kind of strange, but also not that strange because Germany is another one of those places where they have grapes that do, grape things. They have wineries and stuff like that all over there. It's strange how a lot of the places that do opera also do wine well. Italy and France and Germany, could just be that that's where they do those things, but I don't know, maybe those are tied together. The snobbery of winery and opera got me. What does this remind me of? I mean, it's a beer. That's a terrible thing to say, that's what it reminds me of. It feels like a Budweiser, but it's definitely more. There's definitely more to it than Budweiser. The flavor is more complex. It's more malt forward than Budweiser ever thought of being, because Budweiser does a lot with like rice in their beer, and since it's complying with purity laws, it can't do rice. Barley, hops, yeast, and water. I mean, yeast isn't technically in there, but since they've figured out what yeast is, it's been in there. Yeah, it's pretty much a straight up lager. It's a good lager. I would drink a bunch of these. Like I said, I could drink these all day long. And I'm sure that there are places that you can drink these all day long. Not a bunch of places here, because this was obviously bottled in Germany, because that's what it says. Brewed and bottled by Stratliches Hofbräu in Munich, Germany. And brought over here by Hofbräu of America, Henderson, Nevada. I wonder if this actually had to come through Nevada. Probably not. We'll probably just bring it in and take it wherever. And it just costs less to be incorporated in Nevada. That would be my guess. That's so weird. I know that I didn't leave that like that. Oh well, I'm gonna have to do something with my camera because it keeps drooping. And then my forehead gets cut off, even though I started out and it's looking way up over my shoulder. You can still see my face. See the beer, because the beer's the important part. What kind of story does this remind me of? This kind of reminds me of Frankenmuth. But like going to Frankenmuth for the beer fest in Frankenmuth, because you'd get stuff like this. I mean, it's Frankenmuth, so obviously if you go to Frankenmuth, you get beer that tastes a lot like this. Even their stuff that they brew there, Frankenmuth Brewing Company, tastes like this, because, well, it's supposed to. But going there for the beer fest was a blast. I think I've only been twice, which is weird because it seems like the kind of thing that I'd want to do all the time. But also, I work retail, and it's really tough to get weekends off, ever. And even if I do get a weekend off, it's not really a weekend off. Well, like this week, I was supposed to have a weekend off, sort of. I had Sunday, Saturday this week off, which, that's nice. Sounds like a weekend. It is not a weekend. It is Sunday I get off, and then I work 5 days, and then I get Saturday off, and then I work like 3 more days, and then I get 2 days off in a row, which 2 days off in a row, just like a weekend. And it's way better because not everybody's out and around, and the world is far less people-y on weekdays than it is weekends. So if you can hang out on a weekday, it's going to be a better place for you wherever you go. Although sometimes it's hard to find places that are open. What else about over there? Reminds me of Okay, so my dad talks to everybody when we go anywhere. Found this guy that you could see because we got separated. One of us went to that bathroom. I think it was probably me because usually it is. Separated at the bathroom, and he was like, "Where are you?" And I was like, "I'm standing next to the tall guy." He's like, "Which one's the tall?" "Oh, that guy." So I'm standing there and I'm waiting for him to come over. He comes over and I get distracted because I'm like, "Oh, I think I know that guy." Not the tall guy, but a different guy that was walking by. And so my dad finds me and steps right up to the tall guy and he's like, "How tall are you?" And the tall guy's like, "I'm 6'10". But he had a really weird, like, Latvian accent or something like that. And my cousin probably actually knows him because about that time, he would have been, my cousin would have been going to school in Northwood, and he was a basketball player, and they had a bunch of Latvians and Lithuanians. Actually, I think it was more Lithuanians on the Northwood basketball team. And that guy might have been one of them because, 6'10", he's huge. My dad looks at him, he's like, "I'd swear you're nothing short of 7 feet tall," which made the big guy laugh, which was pretty cool. But he did look athletic and very European. Since it is October, and technically today is the last full day of the baseball season, I figured a quote from a baseball player would be a really good idea. Since my beer's gone, I'm going to shoot you the quote, and then we'll get out of here. Quote today comes from Yogi Berra, catcher for the Yankees. Brilliant guy, but he could turn a phrase like none other. So what he said was, "When you come to a fork in the road, take it." I mean, obviously that's not exactly what that means, but it's actually good advice. Take the fork. Go someplace different. Do something different. If you're not you, then who are you? Don't try to be somebody else. You're better for who you are. Don't forget, you can find me on Untapped, YouTube, Twitter, Instagram. I think that's all that I got right now. All at TubaJake_69. So don't forget TubaJake_69. You can like, follow, subscribe, share, comment. It's just better for everything. Been thinking about making this into a podcast, but I need more equipment for that, so I'm not doing that yet. But maybe eventually I'll have a podcast. I think it'll be called "You Got Time for a Beer." And in the future, I will say that much more. All right, so till next time, if you got time for a beer.